Welcome to day 4 of the Mindful Parenting Challenge. If you have made it this far, then I wanted to give you a huge congratulations and give yourself a big pat on the back. Statistically, around 75% of people will have dropped out of a free program by day 3. So the fact that we're on day 4 and you're still here is an amazing achievement in itself. So well done. Today is all about prevention of stress, burnout, exhaustion, and the best way to prevent these things is through self care. Now, parenting is difficult on the daily. Even if you feel like you have everything organized, loads of support, super chilled little humans, and have created a beautiful life for yourself, then I can promise you there are still going to be really hard times. That's just life. But it's more important than ever to look after ourselves in order to prevent the stress, the burnout, and the fatigue. And rather than fixing it once it's already occurred, we need to put strategies in place to prevent it. I know that you've heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, but it really is true. You owe it to your children to look after yourself so that you can be the best parent possible. But most of all, you owe it to yourself to take care of you. Because what most of us forget is that we are a real human being. We were somebody before we became a parent, and that still matters. Now, burnout occurs when we have a huge need for control, or we're aiming for perfection, or we have really highly repetitive and stressful days, or when we feel overworked or underslept, or when we just take on too many tasks and we're rushing around constantly, not giving ourselves time to rest. You can see that being a parent is the perfect recipe for burnout if we aren't careful. Burnout can also be quite serious, with some people ending up in hospital or even spiraling into a dark, depressive state. Now, daily self-care is the best way to avoid burnout. I've included a cup filler template which breaks self-care into 6 different domains. We have emotional self-care, physical, spiritual, intellectual, cyber, and social. It's really important to recognize that self-care for one person is going to look really different to self-care for another. The type of self-care that is right for you will come down to your personality type, your values, and your desires. I'm a mum, and self-care for me is a nice hot bath at the end of the day, or when times are really tough, I love booking myself in for a massage. But I also know some mums, some of my friends, that really dislike these acts of care. They don't like people touching them, or they find a bath really boring. And for them, self-care might be hiring a cleaner for their house or going out with a group of friends and recharging. Now, I'm really introverted, so self-care for me is spending lots of time alone. And when I don't get that, I can feel myself getting really worked up. So self-care is about you and what makes you feel really good. And it is really important to distinguish between self-care and procrastination. For example, I talk to many parents that claim that spending time on their phones on social media is their form of self-care. And perhaps it is, I cannot take that away from them. But it is important to ask, does this task make me feel good? And does it replenish me? Or am I using it to distract myself from life's issues? And could it actually be draining me further? And this is why cyber self-care is a hugely important area. We live in a technologically advanced society, so it's important to have boundaries around technology and ensure that we are using it for positive reasons. Now, self-care does not need to be expensive, and it shouldn't be something that you do just sometimes, once a week or once a month. Self-care is something that you need to be doing every single day. And it can be really simple, like drinking enough water, sleeping to the best of your ability, spending time in nature, eating nourishing food, reading a book, or meditating. You are so worthy of looking after yourself, and it is not selfish to put yourself first. Now, daily self-care is the best preventer to burnout and exhaustion as a parent. However, another important prevention activity to practice is to have strong boundaries. Again, boundaries will look different for everyone, but boundaries are rules or limits that a person creates to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave towards them and how they will respond when someone passes those limits. So, boundaries as a parent might include saying no to tasks that don't serve the life you're trying to create, or ensuring you don't put too many things into your family's schedule, or realizing that you can't fix everyone or even control their judgments of you, or just ensuring that you advocate for your child and your own health and well-being. Now, today's reflection task is a bigger one, but it has maximum impact. Now, firstly, I want you to use the blank cup filler template that I've attached, which is basically a self-care checklist. Think about what really makes you feel great, not what makes others feel great, and write it all down. And I'd like you to place this on your fridge where you can see it, because you're going to commit to achieving 3 acts of self-care every single day. They don't need to be huge. One could be brushing your hair or just drinking 3 liters of water. Now, secondly, I want you to design your ideal week. So for a moment, pretend that you can have anything you want, that there are no barriers. Money, time, childcare, they are not issues. I want you to design what your ideal week would look like. What would you be doing with your time each day? How many days would you work, or even would you work? What would you be doing? And I want you to think about it really carefully. Now, today's listening activity is also a really easy one that you can complete when you're going to bed at night. It is an audio file and it's called subliminal messaging. And basically the audio has hidden words. They're words that are spoken really softly and hard to hear, but your brain's subconscious hears them. And what subliminal messaging does is changes your beliefs and your thoughts about yourself. And the reason we're doing this is because your ability to take care of yourself is highly connected to your self-worth. So it's important that we're raising your worthiness and your belief that you deserve the best for yourself in order to be the best parent. Now, have an absolutely gorgeous day, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5. But as always, come on over to the Facebook group or send me a reply email, because I would love to know what you think of the challenge so far. Have a beautiful and mindful day.